Hey folks, hope you're doing good today. Thanks for tuning in. Now, Mondays are normally the most extreme day of the week on purpose with the Monday grind. So we kick the week off in the most extreme way possible, ratcheted it up to 11 out of 10. But actually, I think today's video is going to be even more extreme than yesterday's video because, man, we got some crazy bands on today. 3 new bands to the channel to check out. And we're checking out some super modern death metal, extreme death metal, but also some deathcore elements in there as well today, I think. Just sounding super heavy, modern stuff, modern guitar tones, all the rest of it as well. Really looking forward to checking out these bands. The first band we're going to check out is called Reaping Asmodeia. The track is called Lamentations, Simulacra. It might actually be 2 tracks, I'm not sure. Let's get into these guys, but man, we're going to have a nice one today. Sounds great. Here we go. No, these guys just a 3-piece, no basses. No, I swear I can hear a bass in the mix. Sick drumming. There's a bass in there. That might just be his 8th string. I have to add that other video to the queue, False Awakening, because man, these are a nice band. Very, very nice. Love the video for that one as well. Now, I just want to double check to see if these guys are a 3-piece or not. Yeah, it looks like it. There's 3 pictures there, the dudes. No, he's using an 8-string there on the guitar, obviously, which does give him those low frequencies, kind of, that cross over between a bass and what would be a normal standard tune guitar, which is really nice. But I swear there was a bass within the mix as well, unless it was just another layer of his 8-string guitar and he was just doing low down stuff. But there was quite a few layers of guitar in there as well, so I was wondering how they do that stuff live. Yeah, it looks like these guys are just a 3-piece. So I'd be interested maybe if these guys have got a live video, or I'll dig around to see if we've got find a live video, because I'm always interested how these kind of bands do it live. I love to see a 3-piece band of where they've dropped out, you know, the bass player generally is what it is, but sometimes it's the guitarist, and they're getting the job done as just a 3-piece, whereas it would normally be a 4-piece. But I am always then interested to know how they then do that live. You know, do you get another dude in to do live shows, or do you just kind of run that stuff through the PA as a backing track? It's interesting because it's 2 different, you know, it's one way to get it done on the record, but then it's a totally different vibe to get it done live. And these guys look like a band that would play live and stuff as well. Yeah, there's live pictures on here. So I'll be interested to see some live videos from these kind of bands as well, because I just think it's so sick when they get the job done as a 3-piece, but it's more work and kind of more stuff to think about to be able to do a live show in that respect as well. Sick. What a nice band though. Super modern, great guitar tone, the sickest drumming, great vocals. Really like the video as well. Super nice. The next band is called Fathom. This is on their own channel. This track is called Stormcaller. Again, we got some nice videos on the channel as well today. Let's give these guys a spin. Yeah, no messing about today. Extreme blasting death. interesting sound on these guys. Really interesting to have these two contrasting sounds going on at the same time. Yeah, cool. Man, these guys were nice. I really put my ear to this one. Once I kind of realised what was going on within the music, there was, you could really, if you like, listening and kind of deconstructing the layers of sound in your mind, like I do with the music. Man, you could really put your mind to this one because it was an interesting blend of slow moving, atmospheric, epic sounds with kind of blasting deathcore with it as well. It's almost like there was two tracks playing at the same time, and kind of mixed together in that way as well. It was really interesting. I'm not sure they quite, the mixer, I should say, not necessarily the band. And let me see, recorded, produced by Kyle Green and Brandon Wallace. And what I would say to those guys, I've actually tried, someone hired me on Fiverr once to try and mix this kind of music. It was more symphonic. It was more kind of Lorna Shore style than this, but it's the same kind of thing within the mix, that they've got that symphonic orchestral edge that they're trying to blend in with stabby, punchy deathcore as well, and have those two edges work together. This stuff wasn't as symphonic, but it still had the same kind of atmospheric, slow moving edge to it, but it was different sounds to, it wasn't violins and stuff like that, to be less symphonic, which I really like the sound of as well. It was more creepy and weird. But when you're trying to blend deathcore with that massive symphonic edge, there's a compromise there that you've got to find space for both elements, And deathcore, when it's normally mixed, is absolutely blazing loud and just so heavy and pumped through the limiter that there's really no space for that symphonic edge. You've got to make space for it. So you've got to pull back the guitars a little bit, take some frequencies out the vocals, maybe take some frequencies out the drums a little bit, so that you make some space for that symphonic edge. Otherwise, you can't hear the symphonic edge. It just gets drowned out by the deathcore. But then you can go the other way with it as well, where if you crank that symphonic edge up too much, it drowns out the drums, it drowns out the punchiness of the guitars, and you lose the punch and the drive of the deathcore side of it as well. So it's a real fine balance. And the guy that hired me to do his track on Fiverr, I tried it. I spent a lot of time trying to get the mix right. I was A-Bing it to Lorna Shore tracks to try and, match it to that style. And I realized that I haven't got a clue how to mix this kind of music. I don't know how to make the space for the symphonic edge without either totally gutting the deathcore side, or without just cranking up the symphonic edge to where it starts to wash out the deathcore edge and it loses its punch. And I ended up saying to the guy, I'm sorry, I don't want to charge you for this mix because I'm not happy with it personally, and I wouldn't charge you for it if I'm not happy for it myself. And I said, unfortunately, you're going to have to go off and find someone else to do this mix for you, because I just cannot get it to a point where I'm happy with the balance of the punch of the deathcore and the atmospheric side of the symphony. I just couldn't get it balanced. And I'm going to say that these guys come really close in this one. Let's remind some of the names. Kyle Green and Brandon Wallace. I know I've been jabbering on this one, but this is an interesting point. I would say the same to these guys in the respect that I think The symphonic edge and the deathcore edge were both up there and loud in the mix, but they hadn't created the space for each other so that they felt like they were actually competing with each other rather than blended and mixed nicely. They were both kind of right up here, and I noticed it even particularly then when the deathcore side dropped out and we just ended up with the atmospheric side. You heard it rise in the mix like it had been compressed before, and then it was rising in the mix and really filled out the sound. So just on its own, this symphonic atmospheric edge was a total full spectrum of sound. So to then get deathcore in and a whole mix of deathcore in as well, I think they needed to do more cuts, more making space in the symphonic side to blend it in and have more space for the deathcore edge. It's really hard. I couldn't figure it out. And the guys that can figure it out, the people who are doing the Lorna Shore mixes and those modern symphonic deathcore bands who are getting it right and getting a really nice balance of symphony and punchy deathcore, are killing it. They're really doing a nice job. I've got a lot of respect for those guys now, because when you've tried it for yourself and put your hand to it, and you can get other mixes together, but you can't do that. Even when you spend a lot of time on it, you just couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out how to get the two balanced and mixed together so that they both came across and had their respective characteristics. So the guys that do it, absolutely fair play to you. And I hate to say it, but I think Kyle and Brandon do need a bit more practice still on that to get it just perfect, but they were very close. The last band we're going to check out, this is a bit of an older track from 2 years ago, August Mayhem. And the second I heard the intro on this one, I threw it straight in the queue. That's all I needed to hear. I haven't heard the rest of the track. This is Unholy Infestation, which should tell you all you need to know as well. Let's give this a spin. They got a symphonic edge in this one. Sick drumming. They've got fretless bass. say so in this one. Go. Faded the bass out. Man, not enough bassists play fretless basses in my opinion, and it's not just tech death bands that can play fretless basses, although that is really the only ones that you see it in. But more bands need to do it. It just cuts through the mix in such a nice way. Sounds so cool. Got that wow wow to it. Sounds amazing. So yeah, more bands need to use fretless basses in my opinion. That is still an area of bassing that's unexplored and could be brought more into metal music, for my opinion. Very, very nice. Sick band, sick drumming again. Dope. Well, I knew we were going to have a nice one today. Let's put it on especially just to have blasting death and just raging bands. And I think we've come across really, really nice. And I like to speak about that symphonic deathcore edge because it's an interesting edge. It's a fresh, modern edge. It's, you know, the latest wave of deathcore, and Lorna Shore and all those bands are pushing that style of sound through their mixes. And you might think, yeah, it's just deathcore with kind of symphony plonked on top. But in terms of the mix and what those guys have to do, it's really a headache. And to make the space for those two elements is difficult. They compete. And, you know, to get them both up there, it's really hard. So respect to the guys that do that, and keep your ear out for that, listening to these kind of bands in the future. And if they've got a really nice balance of symphony that's got the power of the symphony and the atmosphere, but still the punch and the drive of the deathcore, you can go, yeah, this mixer knows what he's doing, because it's a really, really nice job to get that done. Sick. Hope you're having a good day today, guys. We'll see you around tomorrow. Cheers. Bye.